Hello! Welcome to Duncan Egg Bricks and to part 56 of my Hogwarts MOC series. Apologies that this video is coming out a little bit later than I intended. I was waiting for some bricklink orders to arrive. They have now arrived, so I have yet another tub full of pieces. Let's go ahead and build the Clocktower Courtyard. Before we start, I did just want to point out a couple of other things I got in those bricklink orders. They are these minifigs here. Obviously nothing too crazy special. They are from the Dumbledore's Office set. We've got Madam Pince, Filch and Mrs. Norris there. And I just decided I wasn't going to get that set, but I did want these minifigs from it, so I went ahead and got them. Still need good places to put them. Obviously Madam Pince I think I will be putting in the library. Just need a place for Filch and Mrs. Norris to be skulking about. Might also see in the background over there that I did get my hands on a Percy Weasley a little bit of a time ago, and I've just put him in Diagon Alley along with the rest of his family. Right, anyway, let's get back down to business. I can fold my tripod out. Now, the first thing we're going to look at in this is not any of the new build, it is actually an older build that I've done, and that is the remade Viaduct Courtyard, or Grand Hall Courtyard, whatever you'd like to call it. And the reason that I am showing you this is that in the actual films, and I believe I've got this right, the Clocktower Courtyard was actually created first, and then the Viaduct Courtyard, or the entrance courtyard, was actually created from the same set with a few details changed and removed. Now obviously I've done this the other way around. This is my remade courtyard. I'll link the video up above where I changed it from the original version. This is a massive improvement. And I created this and I was so happy with it that what I decided to do was do the process the filmmakers did in reverse and actually change this back into the Clocktower Courtyard. So we're going to be starting off with the same 16 by 16 base. I was going to say base plate, but it is just a regular plate. And then we're going to be building very similar details on it, although there are going to be a few changes, such as the little turrets at each corner. There's obviously going to be a central doorway here, which is going to accommodate the wooden bridge in future. There's a fountain in the middle, and the Clocktower Courtyard is generally in a bit of a state of disrepair. So I've sprinkled in some other colours and changed a few details around. Anyway, I'm going to go and build up the basic outline so you can see how it's going to work, and I'll also show you how I'm going to integrate it with the clock tower. Here's the floor plan. You can see where those turrets are going to be on the corners, and then also where the entrance is going to be at the end here. This is going to be the fountain in the middle, and then at the back there you can see I've put some tiles in. It is asymmetrical and it is meant to be like that, and the reason for that, if you go back to my clock tower video, and I have got the clock tower here, just taking it off its raised multicolored bricks, is I left a gap there, so when you slide the two things together, just need to lift the clock tower ever so slightly. That all matches up perfectly. Now obviously you can see that there are, numerous plates or pieces in there rather than just a single brick, but it was the best way I could find of integrating this kind of oddly shaped front of the clock tower and this courtyard. The other option was to have it kind of out here and then build some sort of connections with lots of loose bits of plate and fiddly bits and stuff, and that really just wasn't going to work for me. So I designed the two things to fit together. There is the clock tower and its courtyard. The two things fit seamlessly together. So there we go. I think it makes the most sense if I go ahead and do some serious building and get the courtyard looking a lot more like it should do. But I think I'm going to start with the fountain because it's going to become a little bit more difficult to see that as the walls go up around it. The fountain in the courtyard isn't in a particularly good state. You can see at the bottom there, I've just used some trans clear tiles. There's actually a 2x2 dark blue plate down there. If it'll focus, you can just about see it. And then I've just used these stacked 1x1 round bricks with some of these small arch pieces, which originated in the big micro-scale Hogwarts castle for the arches at the top. That third one doesn't have one because it is actually completely broken. And the reason I have scattered some olive green in there is actually for two reasons. One, as I said, it's not in a very good state and is a little bit overgrown with some plant life, which I'm going to scatter around the rest of the courtyard as well. But it's also for a very specific reason. This is the top of the fountain, and it uses this corner piece here, this kind of inside corner of roof tiles. Now this doesn't come in tan, no sets have had that piece, and in fact I ran into this problem before when I was doing the side part of the central tower, which now has my charms classroom in it, in that I wanted to use it, but it only came in colours that were not tan, so ones I didn't want to use. However, for this one, I decided I would go ahead, use it in olive green, and then use olive green as an accent colour to show the sort of moss and plant growth. So this will fit perfectly on here, and I only need to use one of them because around the other side it is completely split. I've just used some cheese slopes to show that kind of inside of the fountain. Now, obviously, this isn't as detailed as it would be in the real Hogwarts. It should have some little statues coming out of the corners. I might go back and add them in the future. My only worry is that it already takes up a decent amount of space here, and I want some room to be able to pose some minifigs around it as well. So there's the fountain. Let's get on with some more of the floor details and then also start building up those walls. I've done quite a bit more work, as you can see. I built up all of the arches around the sides. I'm just using the same technique as I did with the viaduct courtyard, with these stacks of bricks and plates, and then these small arches, a similar sort of style to these ones here, and then the tent slope on the top, and that is exactly the right height to just fit underneath that arch. Just represents the tracery within that. It's obviously much simpler than it was on the sets, but I quite like it, and anything more than that I think is just a little bit too busy for me. Built up a lot more of the walls. We've got some modified bricks here with studs on the side. Those will be where the gargoyles, or the kind of remains of the gargoyles, are. And then there's also a clip there, which you'll see what it's going to be holding fairly soon. On the corners, as you can see, I've just got stacks of multicoloured bricks, and this isn't because I don't have the right bricks. This is because I'm going to be covering the outsides. So what I've actually got is some of these pieces, and then dropping them on the floor. Also some of these. So these are the cylinders, and because of these relatively new pieces, I am actually able to make a sort of 3/4 cylinder. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to check how I've got these laid out on my plan. Yep, we're going to add this one on here. This should just fit nicely around the bricks that are already there. There we go. And then this one here. This one here, and then for the final one, what I've actually gone ahead and done is grabbed a sticker sheet from an old set. This is from the Hufflepuff Hogwarts Moment set, which you might be able to see, yep, just there in the background. So this is the Herbology Potions, Herbology Hogwarts Moment set. Gosh, they're such long names. And I've actually used the sticker that does go here, and I've stuck that onto the outside of the cylinder. So let me know what you think of that. I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, it doesn't have any Hufflepuff-specific insignia on there, but I think it goes well with the kind of overgrown vibe that I'm going for. So I'm going to put this here, and hopefully that will go on. There we go. Yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you think it's too much. If it is, I will just order a replacement one of these. I'll find a place to use this somewhere else. But anyway, there we go. So that surrounds the columns and means that nothing's going to show there. Now we just need to finish the tops here. So this is where the roof is going to go. And then we've got an awful lot of tiling to do in order to fit the exterior. So I'll go ahead, get the roof done, fit in some of the plant details, which is the other thing that I've got, and then we'll go ahead and do a lot of tiling on a lot of brackets. I actually went ahead and did quite a bit more than I said I was going to, just because every time I stopped building, the entire thing was so fragile without everything put together that it really didn't feel like it was going to hold together long enough for me to talk about it. But anyway, here is a very close to finished courtyard. You can see that I've put the gargoyles in, or rather I've put the stands where gargoyles would go. In my other courtyard, I used frogs in tan, and unfortunately, since I built that, they seem to have got more expensive, which is surprising because they hadn't been in that many sets when I first built it, and I'd hoped that the price would go down. So I'll keep an eye on that and maybe add a couple in, but to be honest, given the ruined state of this courtyard, I don't think it's too much of a problem. I've just used some 1x1 round plates and 1x1 round bricks to show the different, sort of supports where the gargoyles would be. I've added in the side walls here. You can see I've put some foliage there. There's a branch coming out the wall there, a small plant in the corner, and another different small plant in the corner back there. And I've added some roof in olive green. There's some bits of plant up here. The roof in this bit of courtyard obviously doesn't fill the entire way down as it does in the Great Hall or Viaduct courtyard. In the real set, I suppose, there are actually 2 levels of arches, so there are basically cloisters around the edge of the courtyard. As with the other courtyard, I don't have room for that, so I've replicated that with just 1 level of arches and the roof that overhangs there. So yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. We've only got a few things We've only got a few things left to add. First thing are these turrets or these roofs in the corners. Now I've gone for these cone-shaped roofs here. They actually get added, I believe, in not Prisoner of Azkaban, in Half-Blood Prince. So that's the kind of age of castle I'm going for. When this courtyard was first created, they did just have flat roofs on those corners, but I think I prefer it with those conical roofs there. And the only other thing we've got to do now is add in a whole bunch of tiles to the brackets on the outside. So this is the same method I used in my redone courtyard. These brackets actually hide, in this case, the back of these slopes here. They don't necessarily need to be here, but they actually are quite accurate to how the courtyards look. So here we've got a mixture of 1x2 tiles in tan, 1x2 tiles in medium nougat, and actually I've also thrown in some ingot pieces in tan as well, just to shake things up as well, show some slightly worn bricks. So that's not what you want to watch me do on camera, so I'm going to get that done, and then I'll be able to show you the finished Clocktower Courtyard. And here we go. After some delays, we have our finished Clocktower Courtyard. I've added all those tiles and ingot pieces around the top. I think that looks pretty good. This section here just looks a little bit bare at the moment, but obviously it will have the wooden bridge attached to it. So that'll be the next update. I have all of the pieces but one. I'm just waiting on a replacement piece because the wrong one arrived, but the seller is very kindly sending that out to me as soon as possible. So once I've got that, I'll be able to do the next part. But anyway, time to put this together with the clock tower again, just so we can see what it looks like. And I am very happy with that. That fits together so nicely. The join there is pretty seamless. And yeah, the clock tower and its courtyard are looking pretty good. Time to get it up into the display. And here we are over at the Hogwarts display. This side of the castle is starting to look pretty full now. You can see I've had to move some stuff over just here. This is going to have a proper home, but I'm just going to have to do some reworking and shifting around before we can get there. Right, so this is on some supports now, slightly different way of supporting it. And I'm just going to slide this in. Might just need 2 hands for a second. Apologies for the close-up. There we go. That is all slid into place. And there we have, well, to be honest, this is pretty much all of the actual castle that I'm going to be building. Obviously, unless you count the owlery, which I am going to put up there where it's meant to be. But then we've got the wooden bridge, which I don't know if you really count that as the castle. At least it'll be a nice break from building with lots of tan. And then there's the small little, I don't know what you'd really call it, the small little entrance building, which is made of stone, so therefore more tan bricks on the other side of the bridge. Yeah, that and the owlery. And then the castle itself is actually done. And what I'll be doing is building a lot of stuff underneath this. As you can see, this is all coloured brick at the moment. So I'm going to have to do quite a bit of work to fill that out. The reason I put these here is I'm going to be using them in my Slytherin common room, wherever that ends up being. They're from my Razor Crest, the Lego official one that I modified. So yeah, there is our courtyard. And I have to say, I'm very happy with that. I think it's looking very good. Just get my shadow out of the way there. The courtyard is looking pretty fantastic, like the detailing. Not 100% sold on this sticker detailing here, just because it might be a little bit too much. If we just look over at my viaduct entrance hall, you can see there are stickers here, but I think they're a little bit subtler. There's more stickers actually on my grand staircase tower and over here. So leave a comment down below. Let me know if you think I should swap it to stickers which are a little bit more like this. But for now, I think it'll do. And yeah, there is the courtyard, the clock tower, hospital wing bridge, the Gryffindor common room and dorms, and the divination classroom. All of that built in the last few videos. So we've got the bridge coming up next, the small entrance building, or whatever you want to call it. I'll find a proper name for it. And then the owlery, and that'll take us nearly to part 60 of this series, which, as a viewer did suggest, that is going to be me going through the entire castle, so you can see just how much I've come through. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed, please subscribe down below, leave the video a like. You can always support me on Patreon if you want to do that, and I will see you again this time, and I promise it will be very soon.